Good morning, America. Today, we're here to talk some football. Hello and welcome back to R Square's Morning Mayhem. My name is R Square, and we're back for some Week 2 picks. Starting off with the Vikings and Eagles game. This game, I don't expect it to be necessarily a great game. I would have last season because the Vikings were pretty good last season, but I think they really missed Dalvin Cook over in Minnesota. Philadelphia had some issues against New England. They didn't look like the team that made it to the Super Bowl last year. But granted, the Vikings didn't look like a team who could lose to the Bucs last year, but they did again this year. So I'm taking the Eagles in this one. They played really good defense. Jalen Carter had a really nice game. I think that the Eagles are going to fix their offensive issues. I don't think the Vikings have nearly as good of a defense as the Patriots. And even though they have Brian Flores, I think the Eagles are still going to come up with a win at home on Thursday Night Football. Now we move to our Sunday slate of windows at 1 o'clock. We're going with the Packers and the Falcons. Jordan Love in Mercedes-Benz Stadium against Desmond Ridder and the Falcons. This one will definitely be an interesting one, only because it's not an interesting one. The Packers and the Falcons, I don't expect either of them to be great teams this year. I've made a couple of good arguments for Jordan Love and Desmond Ridder in the past, but I'm not certain that either of these teams will actually make the playoffs. I'm hoping. I have a lot of Falcons friends that are fans of the Falcons, and I really hope that they can pull this one off, but I don't think they can. Because the Falcons' defense did look incredible, and we haven't exactly tested Jordan Love against a decent defense because they still own the Bears, but I don't think they're a decent defense at all. I think the Bears are really going downhill. But the Falcons, they do have a good defense. They have Jesse Bates. They have one of the best defensive linemen in the game. And they have a great secondary, a great linebacker unit. I think the Falcons have a really good defense, but the offense is what's kind of going to struggle. And the Packers showed some good defense in the last game. I think this is going to be a very close matchup, but I'm taking the Packers by a field goal in this one. Next up, we have the Raiders-Bills in Buffalo. Can the Bills rebound after a tough Monday Night Football loss against the Jets at Highmark Stadium? I'm still stuck on Highmark Stadium because I still call it New Era Field or whatever it used to be called. But now it's Highmark Stadium, and that really bothers me. And I don't know why. It's been New Era Field for so long. And before that it was Bill Stadium. And now it's Highmark Stadium at Orchard Park, home of the Bill Stadium. It's just so confusing now. But anyway, Jimmy Garoppolo he's a good player, but he's going to take a little bit to rebound from that injury. They're not going to win Week 2 in Buffalo. I'm taking the Bills by a few touchdowns probably in a rebound after their loss against the Jets. Then we have the divisional AFC North rivalry between the Ravens and the Bengals. Can Joe Burrow get it going, and can Lamar Jackson keep the pressure on at Paycor Stadium? Again, change the name of the stadium to something completely irrelevant to the team. It used to be Jim Brown Stadium, and it used to mean something, and now it's Paycor Stadium. I don't like that. But in Cincinnati, the Ravens are on the road. The Ravens have a good track record against the Bengals. The Bengals don't tend to win a lot of divisional matchups. They've been ruled by the Browns, the Ravens. The only team they've pretty much destroyed in the past is the Steelers in the Joe Burrow era. But I think the Ravens definitely looked a lot more disappointing than everyone expected. But we saw some good things from Zay Flowers and a few other players for Baltimore, while Joe Burrow just looked horrendous. Like, I know there's a whole saying going around the NFL that if you get your contract, you're automatically worse than you actually are. And right now it's coming true for Cincinnati. So I'm taking the Ravens in this one. It's going to be a really close game, mainly because both teams really sucked last week. But I'm taking Baltimore to win this one. Then we have the Seahawks and the Lions at 1 o'clock. This is a really good game between wild card teams. The Lions didn't make the wild card last year, but I think they definitely have a good chance of either winning their division or making it to the playoffs, at least this year, against the Seattle Seahawks, who lost to the Los Angeles Rams, which was really disappointing. But the Detroit Lions are coming off a big win against the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think they're going strong in week 2. I'm taking them to beat the Seahawks. And not only beat the Seahawks, I'm taking them to beat down on the Seahawks. Then we have the Chargers and the Titans. I think I'm gonna watch this game. I like this matchup, the Chargers and the Titans. I'm taking the Chargers this time, pretty big, because the Chargers. I definitely liked how the Chargers played against the Dolphins, even though I am a Dolphins fan. The Chargers definitely played well, and I have a lot of respect for Brandon Staley, even though I don't have as much as I did because he's a defensive head coach, and they allowed 36 points against the Dolphins team who cannot be stopped. But the Chargers, I'm taking them to beat the Titans because the Titans don't have that offense that the Dolphins do. And if the Chargers still score all the points that they scored against Miami, against the Titans, they're going to win this one pretty easily. Then we have the Bears and the Buccaneers. The pillow fight of the week, folks. It's the Bucs and the Bears. I don't even know who to take in this one because the Bears looked absolutely horrendous against a team that they cannot beat for the life of them, the Green Bay Packers. Their rivalries, but no matter what they do, they cannot fight them. They cannot beat them. It's going to be very hard, but the Bears and the Buccaneers, I'm going to have to take the Buccaneers in this one. I know, crazy, taking the Bucs to go 2-0, but if they beat the Vikings, they can beat the Bears pretty easily because if their defense can shut down Justin Jefferson like they did in that second half, I definitely think they can shut down the Chicago Bears in their intense running game. Then we have the Chiefs and the Jaguars. The Chiefs have Chris Jones back, or do they? I'm not exactly sure if he's going to play or not. Travis Kelce, also questionable for this one. The Jaguars looked pretty good. They let the Colts come back at the end of the game in the fourth quarter. They let them come back. So, this one's kind of a toss-up for me. This is a good game. I might watch this one also. We have an interesting slate of windows at 1 o'clock today on Sunday. So the Chiefs and the Jaguars, it's going to be an interesting game. It's a rematch of the divisional round of last year's playoffs. And I think the Jaguars are out for revenge. I know, shocking. But I'm picking the Chiefs to lose 2 weeks in a row. I picked the Lions as an upset pick over the Chiefs, and I got right about that one. And the Chiefs could be without Travis Kelce. And if he does play, he's on limited time. They could be without Chris Jones, who just got his new contract. And who knows if he'll actually play. But even then, is it enough to stop the Jaguars' offense, who Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley, quite frankly, looked pretty incredible in week 1. And the Chiefs did not. They got shut down by the Detroit Lions, and now they're playing a Jaguars offense and defense who's a lot of people consider to be better than the Lions. So I'm taking the Jaguars in week 2 over the Chiefs. That's my upset pick of the week. I'm not doing that again. The Colts and the Texans in Houston, a divisional rivalry, also known as the really bad game that's happening at 1 o'clock that no one's going to watch. It's between 2 rookie quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson. I am taking the Indianapolis Colts to win this one. Anthony Richardson actually looked okay in week 1, which isn't a compliment, but it's not a compliment either because they played all right. They came back in the fourth quarter. There was no way they were going to beat Jacksonville. I think that was a pretty decent steal for the Jaguars of a week 1 victory. But the Colts are going to win against Houston because C.J. Stroud did not look good against Baltimore. They showed some promise. Not a lot, but they showed some. I think the Colts are going to beat the Texans in week 2. Next up, we have the 49ers and the Rams opening up our 4 o'clock window for Sunday's games. The Rams looked pretty decent, but only because the Seahawks forgot to cover the third and fourth man, which are Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell. I said it right earlier, by the way. Puka Nacua. I'm proud of myself that I said it right the first time. The 49ers, though, looked incredible. A lot of people said the Steelers would make some sort of resistance. No, they really didn't. The Steelers looked really bad, and the 49ers looked like an all-pro team that they are. I put them at number 1 in my power rankings just because of that. They are going to dominate the Los Angeles Rams in this divisional matchup. Hopefully we'll see a little more from Deebo Samuel than we did last week, and I'm not just saying that because he's on my fantasy team. I'm saying that because I think he will do a good job at SoFi Stadium at 4. All right, then we have the Giants-Cardinals game. We have the worst offensive line in the NFL this week with the New York Giants. You probably thought I was going to say the Arizona Cardinals there, but I did not. Man, the Cardinals, they looked all right. They really didn't. They looked pretty bad. They lost to the Washington Commanders team, who they looked also really bad. This is just not going to be a very good game because the Giants got shut out 40-0. And they kept their quarterback in the game until the end. He got sacked 13 times? He got pressured 30 times? They had no offensive line in this game. Thankfully, they're better than the Cardinals, so I'm taking the Giants in this one. Then we have our latest of late windows at 4:25. The 2 games at 4:25. We have the Jets-Cowboys game. America's game of the week, as the Cowboys defense are up against the Jets defense. And that's literally all it is, because the Jets don't have a quarterback anymore. Sorry, Aaron Rodgers, and rest in peace, Jets. And then the Dallas Cowboys have Dak Prescott, which I also consider not a real quarterback. So I think the Cowboys are going to come up with this one just because of Micah Parsons and the fact that they shut out the Giants 40-0. And that's the case because the Giants didn't have an offensive line. Well, guess what? Neither did the Jets. So the Cowboys are going to win this one pretty easily in this one. The next game is Commanders and Broncos. I think this game is going to be pretty interesting because it's between 2 teams that are amazing. Yeah, they're so good. No, they're not. The Commanders are going to lose this one, in my opinion. It's not going to be a good game. I might not watch any of the games at 4 o'clock. They all look really, really bad. But if I had to pick one, I'm probably going to tune in to 49ers-Rams because at least both those teams got a win in week 1. But yeah, I'm taking the Broncos over the Commanders just by sheer horsepower. Okay, anyway, then we have Sunday Night Football between the Dolphins and the Patriots in New England at 8:20. It's in Gillette Stadium. See, normally this would be a pretty good Sunday Night Football game, except it's the Dolphins playing the Patriots, and it's never going to be a good football game, as long as Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill are on the same team, against a team with Mac Jones at quarterback. It might have been good if Tom Brady was still with the Patriots, but too bad, even on his special day, they still lost at home against the Eagles. Yeah, so I'm taking the Dolphins by a pretty decent amount here. It says by 3. I completely disagree with this. The Patriots have a better defense than the Chargers, fine, but they have a worse offense. If the Dolphins put up 30 points like they did against the Chargers, or even 20 points, that's still a victory because the Patriots average 15 points a game? The Dolphins are going to win this one big time on the road in New England. Then we have the first of our Monday night doubleheader at 7:15. 7:15 at Bank of America Stadium. We have the Saints and the Panthers. This one will be fun to watch. It's also going to be fun to not watch because I'm not watching this. But the Saints and the Panthers, they're in the worst division of football. They really are. The Saints won by 1 point against the Titans team that looked very disappointing. And the Panthers lost 24-10 against a Falcons team that looked okay. So I'm taking the Saints because at least they won their game, unlike the Panthers, who didn't. And the Falcons, I don't consider them to be a top team in the league. And the Panthers still lost. And the Saints are probably going to win the division because they play the worst teams in football every single week because they play the NFC South. So, but the Saints are going to win this one, in my opinion. And then we have the last of our week 2 matchups. Yay! Also, this is probably the worst Monday Night Football game anyone could have possibly chosen to put on Monday Night Football. The Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know why the NFL would put this on Monday Night Football. Because this is a horrible game. It's horrible. The Steelers and the Browns in Pittsburgh. The Steelers lost 30-7 against San Francisco. When everyone thought they might be okay, they turned out to just be bad. And then the Browns, they managed to beat the Bengals and force Joe Burrow to 82 yards. That might have just been Joe Burrow's worst performance ever in his life. Even like in Pee Wee football, I think that was hard. He had 82 yards. That is like the worst I've ever seen a quarterback do against a team as bad as the Cleveland Browns. I'm still taking the Browns to go 2-0, but that's just because the Pittsburgh Steelers don't know what they're doing. They're just completely throwing their schedule away. They lost to the 49ers when everyone thought they had a chance, and now they're going to go out against Cleveland at home, and they're going to lose with the terrible towels in the building. I'm taking the Cleveland Browns to win this one. Well, I'm afraid that this is all the time we have for today. This is the end of the fourth quarter. All of my predictions are done. Make sure to send yours in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit that notification bell and subscribe. I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow. Bye.